So today, we're going to be finding out who's the actual better fighter in the MCU, Captain America or Daredevil. So, a long time ago, I did a video listing like the top fighters in the MCU, and by far the hardest part was deciding numbers 1 and 2, Captain America or Daredevil. I ultimately went with Captain America, and I've said that in almost every single fight video I've used him in. But I still get comments about it to this day saying Matt's better than Steve. So today, I'm going to take a deeper dive into it and see who is actually better. But before I do that, you got to remember this one thing. There's a difference between a skilled fighter and a great fighter. Spider-Man is an excellent example. Peter isn't a skilled fighter. He hasn't received years of training under martial art masters or anything like that. But he's still a great and effective fighter as he perfectly combines his strength, speed, and agility with his webbing, and then there might be some like martial art techniques in there, and that's it. What I'm saying is that there are several factors that make up a great fighter, and skill and training is just one of them. So let's get started, and let's start with Matt Murdock, Daredevil. So after Matt Murdock's accident when he was a kid that blinded him but greatly enhanced his other senses, he was extensively trained by Stick to use his disability to his advantage to hone his other senses, and in several fighting and martial art forms. Stick was an excellent martial artist in himself, who was also blind and wanted Matt to lead the chase against the Hand in war. But while Matt walked away from all that, he became a vigilante known as the Devil of Hell's Kitchen, also known as Daredevil. Due to years of extensive training, Matt is in incredible physical conditioning, being very strong, tough, fast, and agile for human standards. His fighting style incorporates several martial art forms, including wrestling, boxing, Muay Thai, Kung Fu, Judo, Aikido, Capoeira, Jeet Kune Do, Taekwondo, Eskrima, Salat, and Ninjutsu. It also heavily utilizes his agility, reflexes, Screama sticks, which I'll come back to later, and his enhanced senses, specifically his hearing. When fighting, he knows his opponent's exact location because he hears them either breathing or he hears their heart beating. Even if he's fighting multiple enemies, his sense of hearing is so great that he knows where each of his enemies are at. He's also skilled in using his Garima sticks as blunt weapons, but he's also an expert at ricocheting them off walls to hit foes from the side or behind, or hit multiple foes at once. He's matched or bested Punisher and Elektra, even when she was amped as the Black Sky, held his own well with Nobu, and he's bested Kingpin, Poindexter, Bakuto, and even had the upper hand over the immortal weapon, the Iron Fist, in their brief fight. He's definitely number 1 or 2 on the best fighters list of the MCU. But then there's Captain America, and Captain America is different in that he doesn't have much or any training to speak of. Upon receiving the experimental super soldier serum, Steve Rogers took some time to adapt to his new physical limits and abilities, and that's all he needed to become arguably the best fighter in the world. We've only seen him quote unquote training in one scene, and that's when we saw him punching the punching bag at the end of his first movie, or at the beginning of the Avengers movie. Granted, shows allow much more time to show things like training and stuff like that as compared to movies, which is probably why we haven't seen him train as much. But point is, he hasn't trained nearly as much as Matt Murdock. But because of the super soldier serum, he just doesn't need as much training. He is a master combatant who uses his superior strength and speed, as well as his shield, more on that later, to his advantage. He can simply hit harder and faster than any other person on Earth. I think his fight with Batroc in his second movie is a great example. Batroc immediately showed that he was a skilled martial artist, possibly equal or better than that of Steve. But since his strength and speed wasn't anywhere near Steve's, he lost almost very quickly. Steve beat him fairly easily. And then there's his vibranium shield. Not only is it virtually indestructible, he's skilled in using it as a blunt weapon, throwing it and ricocheting it off one or more surfaces to hit foes from behind or hit multiple foes at once. He's matched or bested Winter Soldier, and he's bested Black Panther, Red Skull, Rumlow, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Patrol, multiple Hydra agents, including Rumlow, while in a cramped elevator, and even bested his past self. He is such a great fighter, in fact, that Iron Man actually had to have Friday analyze his fighting style just to get the upper hand over him. And in the end, Iron Man still lost. Not to mention, Steve has held his own well with Loki and Ultron. He's beaten Chorus Glaive and Proxima Midnight, and even held his own with Thanos himself. To a degree. It wasn't like really a close fight, but you have to admit, him holding back Thanos' hand was awesome. But you get my point. Captain America, this is why I say Captain America is the best fighter in the MCU, and all my fight videos with him. But who is actually better here? Well, when it comes to technical fighting skill, I'd say Daredevil is better. He is the better, more trained martial artist. He's also just faced and beaten overall more technical skilled fighters like Danny Rand, Frank Castle, Nobu, Bakuto, Poindexter, and Elektra. Uh, Not to mention his enhanced senses and screama sticks make him an even better and effective fighter. But that's where his advantages end. Because Cat could definitely hang with Daredevil when it comes to raw skill. Not to mention he's hitting harder and hitting faster. His weapon, the Vibranium Shield, is also a more effective weapon than the Screama Sticks, which makes him an even more effective fighter than Matt. So when I say Captain America is the best fighter in the MCU, I'm not saying he's the most technical skilled fighter. Heck, I think you can make a fair argument that Shang-Chi is the better martial artist than Captain America. But what I am saying is that he's the best all-around fighter. With his combat mastery combined with his physicality and shield, that's what makes him the best fighter in the world. Here's some more proof. Daredevil has fought and beaten more skilled fighters, while Captain America has faced and beaten more physically powerful threats. The biggest physical threat Daredevil has faced and beaten were Kingpin and Elektra as the Black Sky. And I guess you might make an argument that Elektra can compare to super soldiers when she was the Black Sky. I don't think so. Not really. Uh, and even if you could, they can't compare to the likes of Iron Man, Loki, or Ultron, or even Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive for that matter. Daredevil is the better technical fighter. He's the better martial artist, but Cap is the better all-around fighter. Captain America is just better. Like and subscribe if you did enjoy. Leave a comment of what you think and hit the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos and all the great stuff. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.